drafts of 8 orders of council. 1. Ordering the proclamation to be printed and published in specialist supplements in the London, Edinburgh and Belfast Gazettes. 2. Directing the Lord Chancellor to affix the Great Seal to the proclamation proclaiming His Majesty King Charles III. 3. Directing the kings, heralds and pursuivants of arms to attend at the Court of St. James to proclaim His Majesty King Charles III. 4. Directing the Lord Mayor, the Court of Aldermen and Commons of London to attend at the Royal Exchange to proclaim His Majesty King Charles III. 5. Directing His Majesty's Secretary of State for Defence to give directions for the firing of guns at Hyde Park as soon as His Majesty is proclaimed. 6. Directing the Constable of His Majesty's Tower of London to give directions for the firing of guns at the Tower of London as soon as His Majesty is proclaimed. 7. Directing His Majesty's Secretary of State for Scotland to cause the proclamation for proclaiming His Majesty King Charles III to be published in Scotland. 8. Directing the Clerk of the Council to issue circular letters for causing His Majesty King Charles III to be proclaimed are hereby approved, and that concludes the business for this part of the Council. I now invite the deputation party to accompany me to wait on the King in the Council chamber. Ladies and gentlemen, I now invite the High Commissioners and Acting High Commissioners for the Realms to depart, and please do sign the proclamation which is laid out in the lower corridor as you depart. Come by this way. Thank you. The City Civic Party, I know, also have other business, so we'll want to depart at this point. I also invite any non-privy councillors to depart from the doors at the rear via the matted hall, signing the proclamation in the lower corridor as you leave. And lastly, can I invite the witnesses to the oath for upholding the security of the Church of Scotland, if you would like to move down into the throne room. As I depart, if people do want to move forward, privy councillors only, those recently nominated, wish to move forward towards the throne room, and we will try and accommodate as many people in the throne room and the entree room as possible. Marshall and Lord Carrington, I know will be departing at this point with your privy seal, if you'd like to come. Business for Part 2 of the Council. Your Majesty, to make your declaration.
My lords, ladies and gentlemen, it is my most sorrowful duty to announce to you the death of my beloved mother, the Queen. I know how deeply you, the entire nation, and I think I may say the whole world, sympathize with me in the irreparable loss we've all suffered. It is the greatest consolation to me to know of the sympathy expressed by so many to my sister and brothers, and that such overwhelming affection and support should be extended to our whole family in our loss. To all of us as a family, as to this kingdom and the wider family of nations of which it is a part, my mother gave an example of lifelong love and of selfless service. My mother's reign was unequaled in its duration, its dedication, and its devotion. Even as we grieve, we give thanks for this most faithful life. I am deeply aware of this great inheritance and of the duties and heavy responsibilities of sovereignty which have now passed to me. In taking up these responsibilities, I shall strive to follow the inspiring example I have been set in upholding constitutional government and to seek the peace, harmony, and prosperity of the peoples of these islands and of the Commonwealth realms and territories throughout the world. In this purpose, I know that I shall be upheld by the affection and loyalty of the peoples whose sovereign I have been called upon to be, and that in the discharge of these duties, I will be guided by the counsel of their elected parliaments. In all this, I am profoundly encouraged by the constant support of my beloved wife. I take this opportunity to confirm my willingness and intention to continue the tradition of surrendering the hereditary revenues, including the Crown Estate, to my government for the benefit of all, in return for the sovereign grant, which supports my official duties as head of state and head of nation. And in carrying out the heavy task that has been laid upon me, and to which I now dedicate what remains to me of my life, I pray for the guidance and help of Almighty God.
I have with humble duty to crave your Majesty's permission for the publication of your gracious speech.
Approved.
Concerning the security of the Church of Scotland.
I understand that the law requires that I should, at my accession to the Crown, take and subscribe the oath relating to the security of the Church of Scotland. I am ready to do so at this first opportunity. I, Charles III, by the grace of God of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and of my other realms and territories, King, Defender of the Faith, do faithfully promise and swear that I shall inviolably maintain and preserve the settlement of the true Protestant religion as established by the laws made in Scotland in prosecution of the claim of right, and particularly by an act intituled An Act for Securing the Protestant Religion and Presbyterian Church Government, and by the acts passed in the Parliament of both kingdoms for union of the two kingdoms, together with the government, worship, discipline, rights and privileges of the Church of Scotland. So help me God.
I now invite Your Majesty to subscribe both copies of the instrument, confirming the oath has been taken. I now invite the witnesses to His Majesty's oath to sign both copies of the instrument. Draft of an order in Council authorising Your Majesty's declaration to be made public.
Approved.
Draft of an order in Council for recording the oath relating to the security of the Church of Scotland, to be transmitted to the Court of Session, to be recorded in the books of Sediment, and afterwards lodged in the State Papers of Scotland and in the Council Register.
Approved.
Draft order in Council determining the form of proclamation for proclaiming Your Majesty in the realms and in the British Overseas Territories.
Approved.
Draft of an order in Council authorising the Lord Chancellor to make use of the Great Seal for sealing all things whatsoever that pass the Great Seal until another Great Seal be prepared and authorised.
Approved.
Draft of an order in Council authorising the Lord Privy Seal, if need be, to make use of the existing Privy Seal until another Privy Seal is prepared and authorised.
Approved.
Drafts of 3 orders in Council authorising Your Majesty's principal Secretaries of State, the Lord Chancellor of the Exchequer and the Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster, to use the existing seals until other seals be prepared and authorised.
Approved.
Draft of an order in Council authorising Your Majesty's Secretary of State for Northern Ireland to make use of the existing Great Seal of Northern Ireland until another seal be prepared and authorised.
Approved.
Draft of an order in Council authorising Your Majesty's First Minister of Scotland to make use of the Great Seal of Scotland until another Great Seal of Scotland be prepared and authorised.
Approved.
Draft of an order in Council authorising Your Majesty's First Minister of Wales to make use of the existing Welsh Seal until another Welsh Seal be prepared and authorised.
Approved.
Draft of an order in Council authorising the public seals authorising the respective public seals lately in use elsewhere than in the United Kingdom to be made use of until new seals be prepared and their use duly authorised.
Approved.
Draft of an order in Council confirming Your Majesty's wishes in relation to the Sovereign Grant Act 2011 to continue the tradition of surrendering the hereditary revenues, including the Crown Estate, to your government for the benefit of all, in return for the sovereign grant, which supports your official duties as head of state and head of nation.
Approved.
Drafts of 2 proclamations. 1. Appointing the day of Her late Majesty's state funeral as a bank holiday in England, Wales, and Northern Ireland. 2. Appointing the day of Her late Majesty's state funeral as a bank holiday in Scotland. And of 2 orders in Council directing the Lord Chancellor to affix the Great Seal to the proclamations.
Approved.
I now invite Your Majesty to sign both proclamations. And that, Your Majesty, concludes today's business for the Council. May I now invite the deputation party and the witnesses to the oath to exit via the picture gallery and the matted hall. I now ask Privy Councillors present to exit via the picture gallery and the matted hall and invite you to sign the proclamation, which is laid out in the lower corridor. Thank you all for attending today.
pan across, yeah?
Dates, okay? Yep. Thank you. Good. Duke of Sussex is here. Duke of Sussex. Yeah. Oh, I'm Duchess of Sussex. Duke and Duchess of Sussex. So the four of them are here. Yeah. All four, yeah. Okay, Matt, I'll go off the phone now, alright? Thank you. Bye-bye. Right guys, we're going to move back. Okay, no. We can let them
crowd behind them as they're looking at the flowers, joining many senior royals who have taken time to speak to the public, spend time with the public, and also have a look at that outpouring of love and grief that members of the public have been showing over the past few days. That is the four of them. That's Prince William and Kate and Harry and Meghan, united in their grief, in shots which many have hoped for and now can see. Those two brothers and their wives in Windsor taking time out to see members of the public. And we're looking at now, yep, they're going to look at more of the flowers. I mean, Windsor has just been packed full of thousands of people along that long walk, with people wanting to share stories, to share their grief, to talk about the Queen, to leave those flowers, I guess, yes, for themselves, but also in the hope that some royals would come, they would see those flowers, they would take time to read those notes. As you can see now, Harry just bending over just now with Meghan and looking at some of those, I'm sure, beautiful words that have been written about his grandmother. And also William and Kate have been doing the same thing. Amy Lewis has been watching the four of them take time out this afternoon to have a look at those flowers. Amy, how was it received by the public when they realised that the princes and their other halves were going to be stepping out this afternoon?
Well, yes, we only were expecting the Prince and Princess of Wales, as they are newly titled, to be in Windsor today. So it was something of a surprise for everyone to see that also Meghan and Harry were joining the clearly, because it is both princes who have lost their grandmother in the past couple of days. They came down the Cambridge Way together, all four of them holding hands, and stopped and looked at all of the flowers. They are still here now doing that, looking at the thousands of flowers that have been left here by the members of public. They've been reading all of the messages that have been left as well in tribute to the Queen. So very much a show of unity today. As we are watching at the moment, Meghan has just put her arm around Harry. Really emotional scenes here. And members of the public came today to lay flowers, walked up the long walk, and also been laying flowers here by the outside of Windsor Castle. But they had no idea that they were going to be seeing any royals, let alone four. Just before we went on air, Prince released us the first time that he
Okay, thank you so much for that, Amy. We're going to stay with these pictures for a little while. We can see the magnitude of those flowers. That's what we can see now. As Amy said, thousands of flowers have been laid today from members of the public that have wanted to pay their respects to the Queen. I think a lot of people just wanted to be with each other in this moment in history. For moments like this, to see the princes, to see them with their wives, to see them taking a look at those flowers, taking a look at those messages of support, those outpourings of grief. And now we can be joined now by Chris Shipp once again. Chris, this is a moment that many people had hoped for, and it's wonderful just to be able to see.
You're absolutely right, and I think we can now say, really, in death, the Queen has been able to bring together two brothers who, up until this point, were barely speaking. Let's just remind ourselves that both Harry and Meghan were in the UK this week in any case for a series of events, and yet they, despite living very close to William and Kate on the Windsor estate, they had not exchanged any words or spoken. So the fact that the Sussexes and the Cambridges, as we used to call them, but now the Prince and Princess of Wales, are able to do this, to walk out in front of the public, it is a huge, huge moment after everything that's happened with the departure of Harry and Meghan from the royal family, the claims made on that long and infamous Oprah Winfrey interview. The very fact that the two brothers and their wives are doing this right now, I think most people might conclude that in death the Queen has been able to bring these two brothers, the siblings and their wives, together.
Indeed, and I know that, I'm not sure if you can see these pictures right now, Chris, but I will just describe them to you. We can now see Prince William and Kate, who are greeting members of the public. They're spending time talking to members of the public. They're doing something not dissimilar to what Prince Charles III did yesterday, and that is shaking hands, that is spending time. It feels as though, similar to yesterday, this is a new era, this is the way that they want to do things. They do want to make sure that they do still feel that connection to the public, which they have worked on over the past few years and have done very successfully. And this is exactly what Prince William and Kate are doing at the moment, and also Meghan and Prince Harry. That's exactly what they are doing too. They are greeting members of the public. It feels like, Chris, this is very much a new era in terms of what we are going to see going forward.
I mean, it's entirely possible that there's a lot of water that's gone under the bridge since Harry and Meghan left the royal family in 2020. And I think looking at these pictures, seeing them doing that sort of joint walkabout, if you like, is something quite remarkable. We haven't seen the two brothers do this for some considerable time. And we should also remember that when Prince William flew up to Balmoral on the news of the imminent death of his grandmother, the Queen, Prince Harry had to fly separately. As my understanding, he might have even had to have chartered his own plane in order to get up there. That kind of explains the rift that existed and still existed literally 2 days ago. On Thursday afternoon, before the announcement of the death of the Queen was made by Buckingham Palace. And here we are on Saturday evening looking at pictures of Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, alongside the new Prince and Princess of Wales. And we should perhaps remind ourselves again, the title Princess of Wales was one that Harry's and William and Harry's mother had, and we were told yesterday that the significance of that title was not lost on Kate when it was bestowed on her by the King yesterday. And think what that means for Harry as well, that his sister-in-law now carries the title that his late mother once had. I think there's so much symbolism, and looking at these pictures, I think a lot of people will feel mightily relieved that perhaps they found a path, perhaps they found a way to move forward together after all the acrimony that has happened behind the scenes.
Okay, Chris, what we're looking at now is pictures of Harry and Meghan, who are with members of the public now doing something very similar on the other side of the path to where William and Kate, Prince William and Kate are, where they are greeting members of the public. They are taking bunches of flowers. Interestingly, I think one of the security guards just asked Meghan if she wanted him to take the flowers away. And she says, no, it's fine, I will carry them. You know, because they are making their way down that path, they are greeting people, they are taking time and talking to members of the public, not just rushing it through, they really are taking their time. I'm actually going to bring Penny Juna, who is a royal author, into this conversation, Chris, because she is with me at the moment. Penny, you're watching these pictures with me. How significant is this moment, do you think?
Well, I think this could be, you know, the gift that the sadness of the Queen's death could produce. My guess is that the Queen's dying wish, if she had one, would have been that her grandsons started talking to one another again, were friends with one another again. This has been the greatest tragedy in the royal family, I would have said, almost ever. And, you know, it seemed they'd reached an impasse, but to see them together, they haven't spoken to one another. They were side by side, William and Harry, at the unveiling of Diana's statue, and then they both went their separate ways. They didn't even have a cup of tea together. That is looking really promising. And I think that Prince Charles last night, King Charles.
Yeah, King Charles now, yeah.
Last night, when he made that amazing speech in which he just nailed everything that needed to be said, he specifically said how much he loved Harry and Meghan and wished them well in their new life. I think that was hugely important because it was a signal, I think, to them that they are very much a part of this new era. They may be living abroad, but they are still very much loved. And you know, again, his dearest wish, I have no doubt, is that his sons love one another again.
I mean, we know the headlines. You and I both read the headlines regarding Prince Harry and Meghan. Could they have done anything else? They had to go out and they had to see the public today, but it would have been by choice to do it with Prince William and Kate. Is that correct?
My guess is they've chosen, you know, if somebody had, if an official had said to them, a courtier had said, I think it would be a really good idea for you to be seen together, I don't think they would necessarily have done it. I think, you know, they are two stubborn men, actually. And I think that...
No, and it's not dissimilar from brothers up and down the country, really.
Of course.
Well, look, I'm going to bring Chris back into this, because Chris, I believe you got a statement there from Prince William's office.
Yeah, less a statement, but just some indication from Kensington Palace, from a source within the palace, which now looks after the Prince and Princess of Wales, as William and Kate are known. And it is that the Prince of Wales invited the Duke and Duchess of Sussex to join him and his wife, the Princess of Wales, earlier. So I think if people were wondering whether this was an olive branch from Prince William to his brother after everything that has happened, there is confirmation from Prince William, the Prince of Wales' office, that he invited his brother and his sister-in-law to join them there. And remember, they have been living very close to one another on the Windsor estate. William and Kate, the Prince and Princess of Wales, recently moved to Adelaide Cottage on the Windsor estate. Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, have kept Frogmore Cottage. Literally, they have been metres apart in this past week and haven't actually spoken. So we should reiterate that looking at these pictures of those two brothers and their two wives jointly leaving the gates, meeting the well-wishers at the end of the long walk, this is, you know, we cannot underestimate the significance of this moment. And perhaps, as Penny was just saying, I think if the Queen had one dying wish, it might have been that her two grandsons could get over their differences. She didn't live to see that. But wherever she is right now, if she were to be looking at these pictures, then I think she will be heartened to see what is happening in front of the gates of Windsor Castle, a place that she loved. And she will be looking down, if we can use those words, on what is happening with a smile.
Yeah, that's not dissimilar to what Penny was just saying. If there had been one wish for the Queen before she passed, is that there would be a reconnection between these two brothers, because that relationship is hugely important. I believe we've got another. We've managed to reconnect with Amy Lewis, who's at Windsor Castle at the moment. Amy, I mean, what is the atmosphere like? I mean, people just must be so shocked but so pleased that the four of them have arrived.
Well, certainly they came here today just expecting to be laying flowers here outside of Windsor Castle. It was clear from an hour or so ago when we started to see fences going up that perhaps something was going to be happening. We knew that the Prince and Princess of Wales, as they are newly titled, would be coming, but we had no idea that Harry and Meghan would be coming. And as they came down in their car and got out, there was a cheer from the crowd here. I don't think anyone could quite believe it. What a remarkable moment after so much acrimony that we've seen between those brothers over the last year or so. But still, they are out now, still meeting members of the public after spending some time looking at messages. Each couple were holding hands. It was quite poignant, of course, and it was here at Windsor Castle, because this is where the Queen has spent the last couple of years living, and indeed where each of the brothers at the moment is either staying and has been staying in the case of Harry for the last few days, or in the case of William, where he's now living in Adelaide Cottage just next to Windsor Castle. So yes, members of the public here coming just to lay flowers in memory of the Queen and get to meet perhaps a future king, the heir to the throne, William, and his brother, Harry. They've been here now for 15 to 20 minutes meeting members of the public. We're not sure how much longer they will stay for. We saw earlier on Meghan, when she arrived, put her arm around Harry, because of course this is, yes, the public have lost their Queen, but when it comes to Harry and William, they have lost their grandmother. And today, just before we went on air, Harry released, William released a statement reflecting that. He called the Queen Granny. He said that she was by his side for the best times of his life and also the saddest days. And he said it would be some time before the reality of this would be sinking in. He went on in that statement to say, "My grandmother famously said that grief was the price that we pay for love. I'll honour her memory by supporting my father, the King, in any way I can." He released that statement just before he came out here, and now clearly not just supporting his father, but joined with Harry in what has been a very special moment today for the royal family.
Okay, what we're going to do right now is the atmosphere down there, Amy, that you've been talking about. I've been watching it now, it looks incredible, but let's just see if we can just hear a little bit of that atmosphere so that people home can get a sense of it as well. It is truly remarkable what it is that we're seeing here, Penny, isn't it? And I think what's wonderful is in both brothers and both their wives, you can see that lightness of touch with members of the public. And, you know, nobody who arrived today expected to be able to see this afternoon. It's a remarkable moment for each and every one of them. And it's the reaction to both sets of families, just how big a moment it is for the public to see them.
I mean, this whole episode, this whole day, this whole period is hugely important for the public, in not just in terms of, you know, their excitement at seeing members of the family, but actually in seeing how the transition is happening, how we're moving from one era, from where we had a woman, a queen.
Wonderfully made, very well adapted bottle. And I thought this one was so he's having a long day. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. It's very sweet. I'll make sure these flowers get up to the gates, okay? Thank you very much. Nice to see you. Thank you very much. Thank you. say that. He has his moments. Nice to see you guys. Very nice to meet you guys. Have you been up there? Corby. Thank you so much.
I'm only around the corner, so anytime. I'm a personal trainer and I teach karate. I run my own karate club if you can use
I need to get lessons.
karate.
Some karate lessons will help me
Give
out.
me a call, Amy Benson. We love you, William. Nice to see you.
Charles, keep moving. No. Charles, you have it now. We've got everyone together. I'll double check. Try and get on every hand.
You're right.
Megan! 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 Hey, I want you to meet my dog. Come here. Megan, get a bit. William! 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 Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Right, guys, who was I just speaking to? I was just speaking to you, wasn't I?
I'm not surprised. I was looking at you. Go on, do it. She was so.
If you have a chat with Harry, Meghan or William or just if you want to hang on and have a chat with Sky News, then please do. We'll get to you. Is that okay? Yeah?
Harry had a long chat with these two.
Did he have a chat with these two? Well, let's have a chat with them then.
He wished me good luck. I get married next weekend, and he said,
Brilliant. Come on, hang on, just all hang around. So stick around, we're on the way. We're on our way. Did you have a chat with them? Did you have a chat with one of them? Shook his hand.
Our little boy, with a bright orange jumper, spoke to him.
Oh, amazing.
Have a chat
All
with
right, bring him over, we'll have a chat. Right, let's start here. We'll start you guys first.
hello.
So this is just
Thank you very much. We're going to stick on these pictures in the hope of seeing King Charles in the very near future, but he is, it seems as if he is out meeting people just alongside the Mall there. Let's bring in the Right Reverend Graham Usher, Bishop of Norwich. Sandringham is in his diocese. Thank you very much for being with us. Just first of all, I don't know whether you've been seeing the pictures of extraordinary images of Prince and Princess of Wales, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, out among people in Windsor. It just seems there is this real affection amid the sadness for the royals today.
actually be able to be that close and to actually experience it and see it in real life rather than watching it on the telly. And why was it important for you to come here today and witness this day?
I think because it's obviously like the monarchy is such a big deal, and like everyone comes around the world to see like the Queen, to come see all the Buckingham Palace. I think it's just something you have to do. It's not like
They're kind of part of your
it's
part of your inner family, aren't they? In a way that you're just they're part of us, and we
it's
feel
like who we
to
are.
be there.
And it's like when the Queen like when she passed, it's like you lose a part of you. Obviously you don't know her, but it's like it is sad.
She's like a nan and a gran to everybody, and you want to come and pay your respects for her in that moment. And now you've seen the new king in close quarters. You've been here a few hours waiting for this moment. How does it feel? Amazing. Yeah.
It's a lot to take in, but I think it's going to be one to remember.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So lots of quiet reflection, of course, about the Queen's passing, but also a sense of new beginnings with a new monarch and a new era of King Charles III.
Elena, thank you very much. We're going to stick on these pictures in the hope of seeing King Charles in the very near future, but he is, it seems as if he is out meeting people just alongside the Mall there. Let's bring in the Right Reverend Graham Usher, Bishop of Norwich. Sandringham is in his diocese. Thank you very much for being with us. Just first of all, I don't know whether you've been seeing the pictures of extraordinary images of Prince and Princess of Wales, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, out among people in Windsor. It just seems there is this real affection amid the sadness for the royals today.
I think that's absolutely right. And yesterday I was at the gates at Sandringham House, where people were in somber mood and quiet and reflective, with great outpouring of love for the memory of the late Queen, but also for the new King and for members of the royal family who were very much in people's prayers at this time. And lovely to see the